Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience Cognizant Classic cheat sheet. I'm going to give you the final picks, the bets, everything you need to know in a quick and compact timeline before we start getting to your questions. So if you have questions and you're watching live, dump it into the live chat right now. Plus, I have something very special for you before we get to the questions because my night was made about an hour ago or so, and I will I'll let you in on what's going on here. But let's get to the bets right away. I played all of these on the each way extra market with the top three each way, and I made all these bets before all of the big WDs at the top. So there's a bit of finagling going on here. If you're betting right now, you can still jump on them. For example, I bet Ryan Gerard 33-1 with the top three each way, meaning that I have half my money on the 33-1, half my money on the top three, which pays 1/5 of the 33-1. That's like what, 6 plus 610 is just over 6-1 if he comes inside the top three. If he wins, you get paid on both of those bets. Now, that bet is gone. I think the best number on the each way extra you can get him to now is 25-1. However, if you're in Canada outside of Ontario, I convinced my good friends at CoolBet to bump him back up to 21-1 to win the tournament. So that's up from 15-1 to 21-1 if you're still looking for the best number on Ryan Gerard to just win the tournament right now. If you're not on CoolBet and you're in Canada outside of Ontario, hit the description. The direct link is down there to that exact bet. Highly recommend that you do it. CoolBet, fastest payouts in the biz. The rest of the bets are really down the board for me this week. We have Davis Thompson coming in next, 60-1 with the three places. Ditto with Hao Tong Lee. He's 80-1 with three places. Nico Echeverria, 90-1 with three places. Now we're into triple digits already. I, like almost everyone this week, bet Johnny Kiefer immediately. He was down to 33-1 in some spots. I think he's back to like 50 if you do want to bet Johnny Kiefer. I got him at 110-1 with the three places. David Ford, 125-1 with three places as well. And then three long shots, all with the three places. Andrew Putnam, 250-1. Austin, the Smother Man, 300-1. And Zach Bauschu at 450-1. You know, even if he splits a three-way split of top three, the week is far more than paid for. So let's go. My main man, Zach, the Zach attack, been pretty good in the early part of the season. If you hit the description or if you just subbed to my newsletter, which is completely free, by the way, you would have got the cheat sheet earlier and saw all of the reasons why I like both Putnam and Smotherman and Bauschu. A lot of it has to do with the brand new tool at the Rabbit Hole. I'll get to that in a little bit, but you can see proximity ranges and how often guys create scoring opportunities from 5 to 10 to 15 feet. If you really like the old opportunities gained metric that we had at fantasynational.com, this is that, but better, and for every sort of distribution bucket you could ever look for, and you can put filters on it at the same time too. It is a really awesome tool on the Rabbit Hole. I will show it off here in a little bit. Stay with me on this one. At CoolBet right now, there's also a head-to-head. I don't play a lot of head-to-heads, but I did like David Ford over Gary Woodland at plus 104. Really like that head-to-head this week. If you haven't noticed, I really like David Ford this week. Expect him to come dead last through 2 rounds by how much the last time I liked someone this much in Florida, I bet Griot to win the Players about 9 years ago, and I think that he came 119th out of 125 people. So do with that information what you will. Other bets, Gino over in the Asian major that's going on. Gino hit for us last week, going back to Gino this week, plus 333, so just over 3-1 on that. Then so to boost that up a little bit with some other bets, I played some lotto tickets here. So Gino plus David Ford top 30 pays 7-1. Gino win plus Patrick Reed top 10 in South Africa plus Ryan Gerard top 20, 17-1. Gino plus Reed plus Gerard plus Lowry top 20, 34-1. Again, this is all in the cheat sheet if you just want to see the quick math on all of this stuff, but I played all of those lotto tickets, and I do have 5 first-round leader bets. It does seem like the morning, while colder, could have a little bit less wind. More on the wind in a second. Putnam, Mitchell at 40, Kevin Roy, Sexy Roy, 75-1, Smotherman, Bauschu, and Adam Svensson all at 110-1. No placings on that, just first round leader only. I kind of spread out the board in terms of the tee time. So that's what we're doing for the betting card this week. After that, let's talk about DraftKings for a second. And actually, I can bring up the Rabbit Hole right now if people do want to see it. And we can check out where the ownership is going by clicking on the DFS optimizer, and we'll see some projected ownership here. It's going to be Ryan Gerard, Shane Lowry, and Nikolai Højgaard. Let's see. Gerard, Højgaard, Shane Lowry, 1, 2, 3, and then Thorbjornsson. And I would expect these four to be the big four for one and done as well. If you're thinking about getting a little bit off the board and you don't want to use these four guys because they're going to soak up 60 to probably 75% of the ownership in one and done. Hey, you can just go to Rasmus Højgaard because everyone's going to use Nikolai. That's what I did. So he projects very well. Shockingly enough, he projects about the same as Nikolai. He's coming in right around 20%. McGreevy after that, then Keith Mitchell. The issue is because Scott Bridgman and who the hell else withdrew? Someone else withdrew. Someone else at the top withdrew. Ben Griffin was the other guy who withdrew. Patrick Rogers did as well. But those three guys were three of the top 5 in salary on DraftKings. So you can kind of afford 3 9K guys, hence why you're seeing so many 9K guys up there. If you're really looking for the 9K pivot, it's Brooks. If you don't want Brooks, it's Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson, who's only coming in at 13% right now. Hautong and Meisner in the middle range, projecting pretty well. Kiefer and Smalley are right there too. As Blickle and I walk through on the DraftKings show, if you really want to get different this week, the move is kind of punt down with 2 plays because you don't have to. So no one is going to do it. I don't know where David Ford is coming in. I got a lot of David Ford this week. David Ford projected ownership, 4.5%. Let's call it 6%. So you put David Ford with Smotherman. Smotherman, I don't know, he's projected on 0. That seems really weird. He should be projected on like 6, 7%, even though that they're 2 of the higher owned guys in their range versus all of their contemporaries at the same price point. What you're really doing here is putting 2 of those guys together, and it just leads you to a slightly different build at the top. So even if you are going super chalky in that circumstance, it really doesn't matter because your lineup is just inherently going to look a lot different while playing 2 or 3 pieces of the same chalk. Like if you wanted to go Lowry and Gerard to start your lineups, you put those 2 guys in. Just don't use Hautong and McGreevy as your next 2 guys in, and you're probably going to be fine on the DraftKings front. Weather is the last thing that we should probably take a look at here because it did seem like there was going to be a lot of wind and potentially rain coming in on Friday. And I wrote up in the newsletter, as you can see, is that I'm not too concerned about it because who knows what it's going to be when we actually get to Friday. That was this morning when I wrote that. As we can see now, there is rain overnight. Most of the rain, most of the wind got pushed overnight. You know, bigger winds coming in sort of on Saturday. Like it looks really bad here on the screen because it's so low in some spots. But even as you can see on Thursday, like it gets up to 16 in the afternoon. You know, that's great and everything, but it's going to be gusts. The gusts are going to be 16. So I would rather have 16-mile-per-hour wind with gusts of 16 rather than have like 5 with gusts up to 12 or something like that. Because then you don't know what the wind is going to do. And that's more or less what we're seeing for the course of the entire week. It's going to be a little bit less penal in the morning, although it's going to be a little bit colder. You might get a bit wetter on Saturday morning with some of the rain coming overnight. Maybe see a little bit of it overnight again. You know, Saturday looks like it might be a bit of a tougher day, even though the winds are low, just a bit soggy, a little bit, you know, not as fun. But if the winds do stay down in the morning, like if you're playing Showdown in the morning, you're probably going to want these Saturday AM guys. AM guys, by and large, should have the better breaks all week, but it seems like it will even itself out. So I don't think that there's really going to be too many stacks to go to. Now, what I teased off the top, the reason that I am so gleeful today is our good friend Larry at Tom and Marty's ate his final chili today. It was so nice to see, and you should see some of the crap that he got. A jacket, like a master. Absolutely wild. And guess who was very jealous of that? That would be Tim Anderkus, oozing with jealousy. You can even see, Tim, are you jealous of that jacket? Yes, yes, yes. So what did Wendy say? The official Wendy's account replied, the last thing we need to be is Anderkus right now. Anderkus is a national brand at this point. If Wendy's is going after Anderkus, if you are running the Wendy's account and you are watching this show, God bless you. Thank you for tuning in and making us and our show a part of your branding and making fun of Tim. It's really all coming full circle. A great amount of memes off of this as well. So who knew that Wendy's was watching? You'd think it would be McDonald's for the amount of time that Tim talks about McDonald's, but here we are with Wendy's. Final thing, we got 2 new shows coming out. I wanted to do an impromptu live show about this, but I've already recorded 5 shows in the past 18 hours or so. So we recorded a Judge Cust. We recorded a brand new Cust Corner, like full-length episodes. Those will be coming out. We're banking those for when I'm off on, like my 3 days of paternity leave. Just as long as there's no active golf going on, I can kind of run that. But we have a brand new Thursday show. If you enjoyed Emerson and Cam last week on Thursday, which a lot of people did, I got a lot of messages about that show. So thank you for tuning in, giving the Thursday show a chance. Emerson and Cam are not on this week. It's Overzet and Sia Najad. Good vibes, same good vibes, but completely different good vibes. It's a very good show. I really enjoyed recording this one. I can even tell you what the name of the show is. The main topic that we talk about is post-divorce dating strategy. And we find out that Sia loves Fort Lauderdale, which I didn't know that anyone loved Fort Lauderdale. It's almost like he works for the Fort Lauderdale Tourism Board. It's really bizarre stuff. Anyway, start loading your questions in right now. In order to do that, you need to be subbed to Mayo Media Network. In order to ask a question in the chat, you might as well smash like and turn on the notifications while you're here. Quick programming note as well. This live show will not be on next week. I am traveling to TGL, so I will actually be in Florida, not Fort Lauderdale. I'll be in Jupiter, but I will not have time to do this show next week. But I will be back for the Players Championship, and we will be starting all of our Players coverage starting next week once I get back on the Thursday as well. So that was the cheat sheet. That's what you need to know. And now we'll get to your questions right after we hear the of the Pat Mayo Experience.
Pat Mayo Experience.
Ryan is up first with a question. Evening, Pat. Wondering how common do you think it will be to go Lowry, Gerard, Nico, and Højgaard, and then Nikolai Højgaard and 3 guys from the 6.5 to 7.5 range, for instance? I mean, it's going to be pretty popular. I think if you go down, like in that circumstance, I wouldn't even touch the 7.5 guys. I would say, let me pick 71, 7,068, or maybe one really cheap guy that you like, and then try to pad up a little bit. That's the way that you make those 3 different. But that start is going to be very common this week. Those 3 get you Roy, Ford, and Bauschu, your guys. They do. And I think that would be because Bauschu's what, 6,600. Ford is 7,100. I think Roy is 7,100 as well. It seems like you should have more money than that. Castillo or Lipsky? Lipsky. Let's go with him. I'll write it and we'll do it live. So good, Pat. I mean, I'm old now. I still remember when Bill O'Reilly had his crash out. Seems like every tout is on Nikolai or Gerard in one and done. Any chance Lowry gets squeezed? Don't think so. It's going to be those 3. Now, Lowry might be the 3rd. I still think that he's probably going to be first because I just think that's, unless people are like, hey, this is the only chance I have to use Gerard or Nikolai. The way I see it, you either use Lowry this week, next week, Heritage, or the Open Championship. Those are really your 4 chances to use Lowry. And I like him more as a contrarian pick rather than a top end pick. So like I said, I went with Rasmus Højgaard because everyone's using Nikolai. Give me Rasmus. Hopefully that works out. No, I do have 4 teams, so I have other picks down the 4. You better believe that I burned one of those on David Ford because that happened. So that's the team that I have in like last place. I think the team, I can't remember what I did with the team that's in 20th place right now, but I know in the big $1,000 one and done, I'm pretty sure that I used Rasmus Højgaard. Maybe I used Gerard. I think it's Højgaard though. That would be my my go-to right now. What do you think about using Brooks for one and done? Well, that would make you just like Cust. So if you want to get called out by the Wendy's account, you can share the one and done pick with Cust because he also took Brooks. I don't like it. Hey, Pat, the Tuesday DFS show is quickly becoming my favorite. Will Alex continue be joining weekly? This 3 plays each way in the underdog analysis has been so helpful. Here's the thing. I actually was talking about this with Jared earlier today, the producer of the show. Not here right now. When I'm in studio, he produces the show. And it's funny that during football season, this happened as well. I did a prop show every Monday with Noonan and Connor Allen and the Sharp Stack computer system. It was easily the most profitable show that we did. Like it just losing bet after losing bet in every show. Then you get to that show, just winners across the board. No one cared. No one watched it. Somehow, the worse the picks that I give out, the more people watch the show. For whatever reason, I've really been enjoying these conversations with Blickle. I think the information on that show is probably the most in-depth and unique that you're going to find in any one of my shows. It's a real, I don't even want to say it's a 180. It's like a 90-degree turn from like what we usually talk about. It's the same banter back and forth, but the way that Blickel chooses to analyze things, being such a high-level player and being a data and analyst as well, that he's able to merge those things together. You just get very unique perspectives. And I like giving him these research projects on questions that we may have that, you know, maybe he hasn't thought of, or I simply can't do because I'm an absolute goober. I don't know anything. So asking him is very helpful with that. I just find them really informative. They're getting longer. He should be joining me every single week. I think Tambo is going to come back. The three of us will probably be doing the Players Show together. At least that's a tentative plan as of right now. But I've really been enjoying working with Alex. I just love his insight. But for whatever reason, that is the low-rated show. Like it's lower rated than my research golf show that comes out on the weekend. So if you can give that show some love, it's not as spicy maybe as some of the other shows, but there's a lot of really good information in that one. It's making me both a better DFS player. It's making me a better pick'em player. It's making me a better bettor. And I'm just getting smarter listening to it. And if you do have questions, like a research question, like I've been trying to come up with for Blickel to really dive into with the numbers, send them to mayomediainc@gmail.com. We can use those ones on the show as well. And you can get the answer to your question. Like if you're bad at running Excel like I am, or you just don't know where to look for some of this data, then send over your question. I'll get Blickel to look into it. He's happy to. He likes the idea of doing it because he knows how to solve the questions. It's just sometimes he doesn't have the questions to solve. People need to present those to him. So I'm glad you enjoy the show. I've really been enjoying doing it as well. Any interest in Lipsky from down the board? That's two Lipskys. No, I don't. I don't with Lipsky. He did pop at Sony before. Sony is a comp. He's popped at 3M before. That's a comp. I get why Lipsky, but I'm just not in on Lipsky. Can't do it. Have you ever seen a DFS slate like this where the top guys withdraw and you're left with a unique pricing / ownership dynamic? Sure, it's happened. I mean, I've been playing on DraftKings now for like 12 years. I'm sure it's happened in golf at some point. I don't really remember what you do because it's not a completely unique situation, but it doesn't happen very often. But I've just been trying to tinker around with different builds, and even though Blickel recommended against it, I did leave like $1,000 on the table in some lineups just to make sure that I was slightly more different than others. But I also have more faith in guys down the board than a lot of people, so I used my conviction on that. So when you see me in last place in all these contests, you know how it went for me. Pat, with withdrawals and ownership, layout is way is going. Is there too much opportunity cost with leaving up to 7,000 on the table? Yeah, I think there is too much at 7,000. I'm like, if you leave 500 on the table, like your lineups instantly become way more unique. And I'm not really talking about your lineups being duped because you don't see that many duped lineups. You might this week just because you have limited people to choose from and everyone being filtered to exactly the same spot. It would be different if Scotty was in this field and there was like one $14,000 guy, because then it'd be really hard to create the same lineups unless you're creating the same Scotty lineup over and over and over again. But 7,000, I think that's too much. Leaving 7,000 on the table is like something I would do in Showdown if I was playing 150 lineups, because I would have a core of guys that I wanted to use and make sure I got like 6 duds with 6 duds. I don't want to do that for the entire tournament long. John asks, it could be the top few gone, but the middle guys' odds were so trash this week, I didn't want to bet these scrubs. Am I imagining it, or maybe the book's taking a bigger rake than normal? It did feel like that. And maybe it is. I didn't really look into it. I don't know. It did feel that way with the odds being so bad, but it might just be like, why is Alex Smalley 45-1? And you're like, oh yeah, because he actually is like the 12th best player in this field. There's a lot of guys down the board if you do want to go that way. Pat, loving the show. Top 5 Gerard, top 10 Nikolai, Thorbjornsen top 20. Does that sound like a good 3-leg to you? Not really, no. I mean, unless you're just doing it for absolute. If you actually think you're going to win one of these bets, then no. If you're having some fun with it, I'm all for it. It's like make the cut parlays or those stupid lotto tickets that I gave out earlier. I just try to cash in on something that's coming through, but no, none of these are good bets. Like these ones, especially really bad bets, but you know, they're fun to do. If you want to do them, go for it. Is Griot any good this week? On paper, he should be, but he hasn't been. So I didn't use any Griot. Also, you mentioned Shooter Sean. Does his game actually line up, or is it just fun to say his name? Shooter Sean from Canada. I don't know. He's pretty good. Let's do our first deep dive. Let's go into Shooter Sean. We have such little data to work from. We'll go over to the rabbit hole. Oh, this gives me a good time to show you off that new the opportunities buckets as well as we go through it. Apparently, I'm still on Twitter. Wendy's still Anderker. That doesn't want to be Anderkers. Cuss is livid. And it's hilarious because last night on the Cuss Corner that we filmed, that he was just giving shit to Wendy's fries. Now, so was I on that, but I just thought it was funny. He was lipping Wendy's. Now, when they couldn't know about that, the show was not out unless Jeff is secretly the one running the Wendy's account. Maybe he is the one running the Wendy's account. That would actually make so much sense. Anyway, Shooter Sean. Oh, no, now I forget how to spell it. S. There. Oh, yeah, look at that. S-U-D. Let's go, Team Canada. Born in India, but from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. He's Garion's neighbor, apparently. Where Ben Silverman is Jeff's neighbor. You got Shooter Sean being Garion's neighbor. So we can take a look at what he's up to. We can just take a look at all player rounds. This is kind of an interesting way to look at it. It's the button I really like on the rabbit hole. So the short game hasn't been good, but you can see there's spikes around. So this is what I like to see when I'm trying to back a long shot or two or a DFS guy. So in Phoenix, he lost like 4 strokes off the tee in the final round. That's based on everything he's done so far in recorded rounds. I mean, he generally gains off the tee. That's one of his strengths, is gaining strokes off the tee. Just had a real bad day. Probably hit 2 balls out of bounds, and that was just the end of him. But you can see a few times so far this year in strokes gained approach: 1.14, 1.78, 2.33, 1.6. Those are pretty big totals for single rounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times already this year in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 17 rounds. He's gained over a stroke on approach. Like, that's a spike type player. And you can see consistently off the tee, very, very good. So his short game seems absolutely terrible. Although at the Sony, it wasn't bad. At the Amex, it wasn't bad. And the putter runs hot and cold, like most guys. So to me, when I take a look at him, it just seems like he has that upside, almost like I was talking about a little bit earlier. You know what? I don't even have the right one up on the screen. There we go. That's what I'm supposed to have up on the screen right now. Sorry about that. Sometimes I forget to do that. Apologies on that front. I get too excited when I'm talking about my countryman, Shooter Sean. Yalamaraju. We're going to go with that. Dave Canada. Shooter Canada is doing good out here on tour. You'd think I'd be better. I have a bunch of friends with Indian names, and like, I cannot just look at them, and once I know them, they can become ingrained. To read them like what they're actually like, just not good for me. So anyway, when you see the off the tee is good. The approach is really good. If we just go to his overall stats and take a look at like what he's been good at this year, around the green, not so hot. Distance, pretty good. Accuracy, pretty bad. Can he dial that back? That would be a question. Can he keep it dry off the tee? We saw he wasn't able to do that in his final round in Phoenix to keep it in the fairway, although in his other rounds, he was fine. Overall, he gains a quarter stroke off the tee. He's gaining almost a half stroke on approach. So, almost 3/4 of a stroke ball striking per round. As a PGA rookie, theoretically, he should only get better. And he's been a positive putter the entire time so far this season. So I think there's something to him down there. I didn't play him this week. It's not like I'm lining up to play this guy. He has a fun name. It is fun to say, but I don't think that overall he's all that bad, just with the way he lines up. Now, this is what I was going to look at. So if you go in the rabbit hole, you can see approach scoring opportunities. This is a new thing that we have in here. And you can do it. Hey, there's Griot. Look at him go. Scoring opportunities from 15 to 100 and 100 to 150, 151 to 175, all these buckets. So a ton of shots this week come from 176 to 200. Like 150 to 200 is your like big bucket this week. It's not the greatest thing to look at, but I do think it's somewhat predictive. Like if you start seeing names that have played well with this course in the past. So let's see, who are the best players from 175 to 200 at hitting it inside of 5 feet? So inside 5 foot percentage. Who is the best player in the field from 175 to 200 at hitting it inside 5 feet, 10 feet, and 15 feet? That's what these buckets are telling us on the screen right now. Lowry, Højgaard, you got Olesen, Gerard, a lot of the best players. Shocking. They're really good from these distances. Now, the reason that I ended up on those other guys, you can see Austin Smotherman, number 9. Zach Bauschu, also tied for 9th. He's also 8th from inside 15 feet. And he's also really good from beyond 200 yards as well. And Putnam was up here somewhere, wasn't he? I thought Putnam did this pretty well. Let's see, where'd Putnam go? He's 46th in this one. Putnam's gonna Putnam from time to time, but he's very good from in close. But I just like his approach play overall. I like his accuracy. That was the reason to go with him, and the T2 at Amex really helped. But these two, main reason that I went with him. So Eckroat's one here. He's 12th in this bucket. Obviously, let's see here. You got Nikolai and Lowry. Lowry's been really good here over the years. He's number 1 in that bucket. other guys we can try to find. Svensson has spiked a lot at this course. Eric Cole's obviously lost in a playoff. McGreevy was T2 a year ago. Mitchell has won here. It's why one of the main reasons I bet Thompson and Haotong, they're up in these stats as well. This was the main bucket that I was looking at. And I don't know exactly how much this is going to tell us. It's brand new, so it's really interesting to use. But I just thought it was pretty cool to take a look at. Like if you do inside 15 feet versus 5 feet, you have a limited sample from someone like Blades Brown, but you have like Celinda's up there, Niergaard Peterson. There's Baoshu again who pops up, Nikolai, Eric Cole. And then when we start doing it, opportunities from 5 feet and in, there's David Ford, my main man, David Ford, the best in the field from 150 to 175 and hitting it inside 5 feet, from 15 feet. He's 10th. So this is really fun to play around with. The other thing that I put up on the rabbit hole this week, if you want to take a look at it, you can always find everyone's who builds them on the site that's like associated with the site. See Ron, Andy, Ryan, Vincenzi, Joe Adone, Noonan's up there, John's up there. I'm up there, the one that I build on the research show. I also made this one. I'm working on it. There's a work in progress, and you can always load these in and then use what I have up there if you think that it should be structured differently. But you can see strokes gained. So I went to the rolling model part where it's like the spike percentage, and that's under this part of the rabbit hole. If you're ever looking for it, you can find it at, let's see here, down floor ceiling is this stat. You can do it for each of the stats to see how often players gain above 0 strokes, 1 stroke, 2 strokes, whatever it might be. So anyway, I built this to try to find like who spikes. And this comes back to what I was talking about with Shooter. Shooter Canada earlier, that how he was spiking in some of these rounds on approach. So I put in strokes gained approach, 2 or more gained in a single round, 40% weight. Strokes gained putting, 2 or more strokes gained putting in a round, 40% weight. Strokes gained off the tee, 5%, then strokes gained total of 4 or more. So I only put in strokes gained total off the tee, of 0 or more. So not just how often do you gain strokes versus lose strokes. And I put it at a very minimal percentage at 5%. I want guys gaining a bunch. When you see the lowest scoring rounds of all time, it's very rarely like a spike off the tee and a spike putting. It happens. It's far more common when you match up approach and putting. That's when you get the super low. Hell, if you match up off the tee, approach, and putting, you're looking pretty good. So I put in strokes gained total 4+ in a round just to make up for some of those other guys. If they chip in, they're very good around the greens and they can dominate par 5s that way, or they're great off the tee, whatever it may be. But that's how I set it up. And you can see these are like the single round players who spike in these things. Haotong, Baoshu, Nikolai, John Perry, Thorbjorn Olesen, Lowry, Snediger, Sam Ryder, Nico Echeverria, Garrick Higo, Smotherman, Eric Cole, Keith Mitchell. That's why I ended up betting a lot of these guys first round leader. I just thought this was an interesting way to look at showdown, first round leaders, single round type stuff. If you're alting someone up or alting someone down, that there's going to be a lot of variance with these guys, but when they hit their upside, they shoot some of the lowest rounds around. So I thought that was interesting. It's something that I'm working on. I'm trying to get better with a lot of this data. Maybe I can ask Blickle about that next week and we can talk through it. Again, send your research projects for me to tell Blickle to do at mayomediainc@gmail.com. All right, back to the questions. Load them into the chat. You know what? I'm getting parched here. I need to get a glass of water, watch some ads. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Look, I'll be straight with you. We talk all the time about getting better at work, sports, in life, whatever it might be. But most guys ignore the one thing that actually drives all of it: your head. Therapy isn't a weakness, it's a tool. I've seen it help guys deal with work stress, family stuff, breakups, addictions, whatever it might be. Just getting unstuck when everything feels heavy. The problem? It's usually a pain to get started. Long wait list, huge cost, total hassle, you know the deal. That's why Rula is different. Rula makes therapy simple, affordable, and fast. They work with most major insurance plans, and sessions can cost as little as $15. You answer a few quick questions, they match you with a licensed vetted therapist that actually fits what you need, and you can be talking to someone as soon as the next day. No weeks of waiting, no guessing if you pick the right person. If you've been putting this off, stop! Go to rula.com/mayo and get started today. That's RULA.com/mayo. Once again, that's rula.com/mayo. Take the first step. Take control of your mental health. The new year's here, and if you're like me, you're gonna want to get your house back on track. Considering I've been through 8 weeks of renovations, my house still isn't back on track, but I do need some new stuff. That's where WAYFAIR came into play and was quite handy and That's some awesome stuff. Wayfair is basically a one-stop shop for everything your home needs. We got new appliances, and now we need crap in the kitchen that matches that stuff. Or so I was told. Go on to Wayfair, get it. Stuff to put in the drawers to separate everything with our new cabinets, also on Wayfair. Complete game changer. It's been awesome. And I haven't had to go to the store. I've just been able to do it from home, which I find is a big win for me. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track for the new year for way less. So head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com, Wayfair. Every style, every home. We're back. If you have a question to jump in the chat, you need to be subbed to Mayo Media Network. All right, smash like while you're here, turn on them notifications. You can always catch the replay on the Mayo Media YouTube channel and on both or on any podcast feed for the Pat Mayo Experience. And by the time you wake up tomorrow, me, Pete, and Sia, we got 2 hours for you shooting the shit. Some sports, some not. A lot of good laughs, a lot of good fun on that show. Please support the new Thursday show. If you got a name for it, dump in the comment section on that one because we're still looking for what to call this one. Chad asks, any correlation to TPC Scottsdale off the tee with the Rye overseed? I think the one that correlates the most with this, honestly, is probably 3M, just because there's such present danger with water lurking everywhere that I actually think that might be, I saw Ron bring it up. Let's see if I can find this out. I think that no would be my answer to that. I mean, if you're a good off the tee player, you're generally a good off the tee player anywhere. This course is a bit shorter, so you can get away with some accuracy. I think that there is a stroke saying, yeah, water danger high. So let's call it water danger high and apply this right now. I don't know what courses actually get counted in this. We can find that in a second. Past 2 years, water danger high, strokes gained off the tee. Who are the best players? Rico Hoey, Keith Mitchell, former winner here, Celinda, Joel Damon, Kevin Yu, Max McGreevy, Doug Gim, Takumi Kanaya, Haotong, Wrighton, Shipley. Limited sample for a lot of these guys. Carson Young and Taylor Moore, both very good in these conditions. Ditto for Michael Brennan and Luke Klan. So when we click on Taylor Moore, we can find out now what courses are popping up. So Amex has water off the tee, RSM, 3M, Players Championship, Cognizant, Mexico, WN Phoenix. Okay. I guess there's danger off the tee. I guess there is water off the tee. There's a lot of water balls in Phoenix. So maybe, I suppose, that could end up correlating. I just don't see a lot of crossover between the leaderboards ever between Phoenix and Cog. And, well, I guess maybe just because Cog has worse fields, maybe that's the difference. It's something that, listen, if you have the rabbit hole, this is something you can most definitely go do on your own. I don't have time on the show to like really dive into this right now, but I just don't remember any names really doing well at both, or they're just great at driving, because both of them are really second shot courses. Keep your ball in the fairway, give yourself a shot to go attack pins and make some putts. That's how both of these tournaments are won. It's you can lose it off the tee course, but you're not probably going to win it off the tee unless you have an absolutely exceptional week with the driver, like someone like Chris Gotterup did at Phoenix this year. But there are very few instances of that ever actually coming to fruition. Is Carl Phillips a good player to take? Doubt it. In one and done, yeah. You know what? If you're in the race for the Mayo Cup, yes. I think you should use crazy Carl Phillips this week. No, I don't. There's 31 tournaments. You have 31 picks to make in one and done. Why are you trying to burn it on like the 300th ranked player in the world? Like, even in this field, he's like well below the average player. If he wins, that's awesome for you, but he's more than likely going to miss the cut or come like T50 and get you no money. You should not, like, you have to think about it in those terms before you start going all off the board. You get 31 picks. You don't get to bring guys over into next year. So why waste your pick on someone you realistically would never take? If you are in the last 25% of the season and you're way back, then yeah, go off the board. It is too early to do that right now. In the race for the Mayo Cup, I went from, I think going into Phoenix, I was in 5,000th place out of 5,600. Then I went Gotterup, Fleetwood, Rory, and now I'm in 20th place. Now I could be back down to like 200th by 3 weeks from now. But as long as you just get consistently good results and use your good players, because you can't take them with you. You got to use them. That's seemingly the method to go. Carl Phillips wouldn't be on. Now, if this was next week, where he's the defending champion at an alternate event, sure. At this one, I think there's better players to use. Any thoughts on Billy Ho? Not especially. Is Wendy's now Cuss' biggest rival? Now he's already like sucking up. He's hoping he can get one of those blazers too. He's more just jealous that Larry got the blazer and he didn't get a blazer, and that Wendy's is paying attention to Larry and giving him things when Cuss has been such a big fan of Wendy's over the years. You can hear these words coming out of Tim's mouth. This new Cuss Corner is fucking wild, by the way. He's commenting about how people who use stairs are just show-offs. Apparently Cuss is afraid of stairs and bad at them. That shouldn't be shocking to me, but somehow it is, even after all these years. If you could pick 4 courses, 3, I guess, for the major rotation in an optimal year, what are you going in with? This is not the point of the show. I like that question, John. We're doing rapid fire questions here for PGA National only, because I would actually have to think about that. Off the top of my head, I have no fucking idea. How are you feeling about your best ball teams? Just saw I'm trailing you by 100, but you've got 7 guys to my 3. Well, I'm going to beat you in that one. Sorry. Bad. I banked so much of my year on Jake Knapp and Pearson Coody and Jacob Bridgman. They're 3 of my 6 highest owned players. They were all supposed to play this week, thus thrusting me through to the next round, and they're all not playing. A day of WD and 2 guys who were supposed to play that played too well. So I'm kind of sweating it right now. Like the Daniel Berger going back into this field after he wasn't in could end up being a huge lifeline for me in the best ball streets, trying to get me through. Because I dropped down from like 45 teams advancing to I think 31 last week. And that was even with Bridgman. I don't know what happened, but I really fell behind the 8 ball. But I knew that it would be okay because I had a lot of teams in second and third that was going to use this week to come back on everyone because I had so many guys ready to go versus, I mean, most people have like 2, 3, or 4, and I would have 5, 6, or 7. Now I'm the guy who has like 4 guys going. So I need my guys to really, I need Keith Mitchell to win. If he wins, I'm good. If he comes in second, I'm probably good. And the rest of my guys to make the cut, that's where I'm going. Who's your favorite mid-sevens golfer, and why is it the Gim Reaper? Probably Nico. I bet Nico, so that's where I'm going with. Doug Gim's been really bad this year. Hopefully he can get his shit together because I do love Gim Chi, the Gim Reaper. Someone who always plays well at the players, too. He needs to get himself into the players to do it. But I prefer Nico in that spot, but I just prefer David Ford and even Michael Brennan, who are both cheaper than him. I know he's playing like shit, but thoughts on Tom Kim, 100 to 1 3 places? Not for me. I get it. Just not for me. What are your thoughts on Chan Kim, 4Cham? He keeps showing up highly in the models I've run. Maybe check your models and what you're actually putting into it. That'd be my guess, because I didn't even realize he was back on the PGA Tour. I thought he was on the Korn Ferry Tour. That's how little I've heard about Chan Kim so far this year. Now, I won a $100 single entry GPP at this tournament last year because, if people remember, the second round got delayed and guys had to come back on the course. A few guys had to come back on the course to determine what the cut line was going to be. One of those guys who was in my lineup was Chan Kim. He went to bed with an 8-foot par putt on his last hole. He had to make it to make the cut. Miss it, he misses. And he made it, and then I won the GPP with Chan Kim in my lineup. It was glorious. Let's see, Chan Kim. Again, didn't realize he was in the field. Apparently $6,800. I'd prefer Chandler Phillips, who's right below him, just because I like Chandler Phillips a little bit better. Cut. You know, he's only played once so far this year. And okay, I see what's happening. The last 2 times that he has played his tee to green. So if you're using like a limited sample of date ranges, then you're going to get really good tee to green numbers. I'll show you right here from Chan Kim. Sometimes it's worth investigating. I mean, you can ask me, and this is what I do on this show, but why this is some of the time. So you can see that overall Chan Kim played very poorly at the American Express. But because the American Express only uses one course with strokes gain data, he played really poorly in round. He was bad at one of the courses, but his tee to green was awesome at the stadium course. So one of his 3 rounds was really good, and the putting really let him down. At the RSM, where he has only 3 rounds weighted, you know, his tee to green in general, very good. There, you can see the tee to green gained in all 3 rounds. At the Seaside course, the putter was absolutely terrible. That's 4 rounds. That's it. Then you go back in time until you get back to the ISCO in July. He's not gaining over stroke tee to green in any of those like he did in these past 2 tournaments. Now, if you think this is real form and he can do it, absolutely use Chan Kim. But if the reason that he's popping up so highly for you in these models is because you're probably using something like last 4 months or last 2 months or last 5 tournaments or last whatever it might be, whatever your date range is, and it will show you that he's basically Scotty Scheffler when it comes to tee to green, but it's only 4 rounds, and we just simply know that's not the case. So sometimes inquiring and digging in a little bit deeper should provide the context that you're looking for. Between you, Blickle, Tambo, and Keith, this has been the best start to a PGA DFS season I have ever had, says Mr. Larry Lauder. I'm glad you're doing well. I'm actually doing really well in DraftKings too. Betting-wise, I have the guy who comes in second every single week In DraftKings, that's not so bad. So it's been a pretty good year so far. But no high-end finish, but consistently good finishes. So I'm very happy about that. What's the best angle or glitch you've ever been able to exploit at a sports book? It was at an underdog competitor a few years ago, and they had higher or lower on hole. It was actually at Bay Hill next week. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago next week. And they just put up this single hole prop of birdie or better on hole 16, which everyone birdies or eagles as long as the conditions aren't absolutely horrid at Bay Hill. And they put it at even money. And I think like the birdie or better percentage that day was like 90%. I made like 10 grand. Just cashed it immediately. It was awesome. That was the like one that stuck out to me. Be like, whoa, what are we doing here? That's off. And they didn't realize it until they got caught. Funnily enough, they have never offered that market again on hole 16 at Bay Hill. But it's one to look at. Like there was even one where I hit like eagle on like $100 play. Like, yeah, Rory eagle, someone else eagle. I played a few of them. Now I lost some money on that one, but just hitting the one made up for everything and more. If I had just hit that one, it would have been the greatest day. But I hit all the birdies are better going too. And hit combos like 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, just loading up all the way down. Almost like the ladder that we played last week at Riviera. It just hit all the way up. Happens very rarely that you find one of those soft spots. But when you do, bet big. Because when you bet big, when the odds are in your favor, it sucks when you lose. You feel stupid. But that is actually how you make money betting. It's just I'm bad at finding the angles. That's why like, Pizzola is good at this. Pizzola is very good at finding these angles and betting big when it happens. And he doesn't let losses get to him because it's not a guaranteed winner. Even if it's at like last week, we saw one that was like the last part of ours, I think we were favored in it like 51% to 49%, but even the one down, it came down to one putt that I think it was Bridgman made. And it was a pretty like 15-foot putt that he made. But in that market, we were like a 70% chance of winning. We almost lost it. We almost got, flipping the coin 4 times. It came up heads once. It sucks when it happens. You need to get over that and actually play the probabilities. And if you're scared off by finding the soft markets, when you know the odds are in your favor. The math has been done. The odds are in your favor. It is a good bet. You still need to be able to live with losing it because it's no sure thing. It's always the part you need to remember that there's no such thing as free money. Unless you're that guy who cashed out on DraftKings that week and got his money. This week got his money. Anyway, I love Lee Hodges so much this week, and I don't know why. He's been good here. He won at 3M. I think he popped either at Sony or something, but that was mainly putting. I get it. I mean, he's in that rung of losers in the bottom 7. My guy's David Ford. Your guy is Lee Hodges. It all works out. Going to the Cog, first ever golf tourney I'm attending. So what are the pro tips besides following Shooter Canada all day? I don't know. I don't really go to that many live. I hate going to live golf sucks. I can see like going to the Masters being super fun. Like it's a fun experience to go do. I would just say I like to walk the entire course. I like to walk around. It's fun. Like I remember following Martin Trainer at the 3M one year. Like that was fun. I followed him and Kodaira playing together, like giving Kodaira a big thumbs up for all the money that he won me at the Heritage. And just, it was me and 4 Japanese reporters smoking cigs because they were all following Kodaira. We were the only people, and Martin Trainer's like terrible looking girlfriend. Oh my God. Shocking for a professional golfer. Anyway, there was no one there. So you get really up close with like guys that you like. It's not like you're talking to them, but like you can see everything they're doing. That was a lot of fun. And you get to see the course. Then you like stake out at a hole. Try to make friends with someone who has like the hospitality bracelet, go get some free drinks, hang out in some air conditioning. That's really the way to do it. But the thing that you forget about, almost like a football game in a weird way, you just don't know what's going on at the course when you're there. You can only see 3 guys playing in front of you. So at least being in a suite where you can see the whole, that's the setup that I had at the Wyndham. I had the box at the 17th through Underdog. Thank you, Underdog. They were a sponsor of the Wyndham Championship that year. But they had like 2 screens in the booth that was air conditioned with like drinks, soda, food the entire time. And we were just over the green on, I think it was the 17th hole. The 17th hole. That quirky par 4. So you can see guys drive it up right around the bend and then start trying to attack this pin and see the putts. By the end of the day, like when the guys are going to miss the putt. It's actually hilarious. Like I've seen this putt 8 times. Every single person has misread it and it's going to go to the right. It's just funny when you start seeing that stuff crop up over and over. I think to me, that's the ideal way to go do it. I've never been to PGA National, so I don't know where you should go. Ask Kenny. Kenny was there when Sung Jae won. I was supposed to go with him, but me and Rick were staying together that week. We got an Airbnb together, and Rick and I decided to go to dinner with Raza's girlfriend, and Nelson Adcock instead of going. And we all won our Sung Jae bets too. We were just so gassed from playing golf and like doing the entire weekend with everyone there. We're like, you know what? Let's just go to a nice dinner and we'll get the fuck out of Dodge in the morning. So we ended up doing that instead. It's actually a lot of fun. And then we all like got to celebrate. You know, the drinks and bill was on everyone that day because everyone hit a Sung Jae winner as the outright bet for the Honda Classic in 2020. You mentioned Stanger on the research show. Is there anything there as a flyer at no ownership? I don't think so. No, he's the stranger. He sits on his hand and then he can't feel it. Then he can't hit his shots. So that's never any good. You don't want that guy. What was the data website that you were looking at last week when you found the edge at the hole 10 Riviera? That's the back end of ShotLink. Is what I was using last week to go do that. You need to, if you want to pay $100,000 a year for a ShotLink membership, you can use it too. But if you don't want to do that, I mean, the rabbit hole is far more intuitive. That's just hole by hole if you really want to see stuff. It's fun in real time when you're going through it to see exactly what's going on at a hole or to see like where guys spray it around. Like we have all that data, but we compress that data into the rabbit hole to get the shot level analysis of these buckets. And that's what we're using that data for. The visualization part is pretty cool to look at, but it's not a public site. Thoughts on Davis Riley? I bet him top 5. I have no thoughts on Davis Riley whatsoever. Didn't even realize he was in the field. Who would you avoid the favorites, Lowry and Gerard, and one and done? Projecting more than 25% ownership each. I think it depends on where you are. I think it also depends on the size of your one and done too, right? Like if you're in a 15-man one and done, use one of them. Use whoever you like. It doesn't matter in that one. You don't need to go off the board. When you're trying to game out versus 5,500 other people, then it becomes a bit of a situation. So I've talked about it already. I like Rasmus or Keith Mitchell as the pivots at the top end if you don't want to go with the big 4 that are going to be used. And that's what I've done. You mentioned pivoting off of Haotong and McGreevy in the 8s range based on ownership outside of Kiefer. Who do you like as potential pivot plays? I'm not pivoting off of Haotong or McGreevy, by the way. I am using both of them. I'm using them primarily with Rasmus, Keith Mitchell, and Davis Thompson builds, and then one lower guy. I'm just not using McGreevy, Haotong, Gerard, and Nikolai as a lineup. I'm using the chalk guys, but I'm using the mid-range chalk guys and not the top-end chalk guys. What you want to do is not put all 4 or 5 of the chalk guys together, Kiefer included as a part of that, because I think Kiefer is going to do it. But I use basically everyone in that spot and really divvied it out. We can take a look. I can probably show you. Let's see if I can find it here. Well, I don't think it was all my lineups. The last run of lineups I made at Fantasy National because the lineup builder is back in business. So I've been back using the Fantasy National lineup builder because I enjoy it so much. And I know that everyone does too. And that's why that was a big thing to me to get that back and running again. But I can see if did it save all my stuff. Let's find out. Lineup generator. So yeah, I made 40 lineups, so you can see who I used. And I did move these around manually after the fact, but Lowry, Gerard, Rasmus Højgaard, Keith Mitchell, Davis Thompson, Smalley, McGreevy, Haotong, Mac Meisner, Chris Kirk, Johnny Kiefer, Wrighton, you can see 23, 20, 23, 28, 27, 15 for Hoey, John Perry, 15, Nicholas Echeverria, Garrick Higo, Eric Cole. I just kind of spammed this range and then started making up, like, I don't play Haotong and McGreevy with Lowry and Gerard kind of thing and Højgaard. And like you can make the buckets here up the top. I don't know if I did it with this set, but you can always be like, hey, don't use this guy, create your group lineup where of these 5 guys, only 2 can be used in every lineup, just so you can get away from the chalk that way. Again, I'm not showing it on the fucking screen because I'm an idiot, but here we are. But yeah, those are all different things you can do in the Fantasy National lineup generator. Then you export your lineups and you go upload, and then you can look at them again on DraftKings if that's the way that you want to go. But you can see, yeah, I just kind of spammed this 83 to 74 type range and have about even distribution on everyone. Johnny Kiefer was a little bit more, just like when you go down. David Ford is a little bit more because those are the guys that I like this week. But I tried not to go too crazy because this is still PGA National. Like I actually after I uploaded my lineups, I actually changed a bunch of Gerard because I saw that I didn't have in Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson. So I actually moved I think I moved 13 of the Gerard shares to Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson. So leaving money on the table in those particular lineups, but I just didn't want to play anyone over 40% at PGA National. Although PGA National is much easier than it's been. You can still blow up here. Like guys can miss the cut here with 2 bad shots. So I don't want to be all in on one guy. I just don't think that's a good idea. So those Gerard numbers, Gerard is my highest owned guy, but I did move a lot of his shares to Rasmus Nørgaard Peterson because sometimes I'm an idiot and forget to click guys. I'm sure I'm not the only one who does that, forgets to put guys in like when they're going through. But here we are. Oh, more questions. Look at all these questions. I can't believe we have so many questions for the Cognizant. This is great. Smash the like while you're here. Tell people. I'm not here next week, though. Not here next week. But we will have shows for next week. Everything's going. It's going to be, I think I'll probably record with Blickle because I leave at 5 a.m. on Tuesday morning. So I'll record with Blickle on Monday. So that will be ready for you the moment you wake up on Tuesday morning. So we'll have the Jeff show, the research show, Jeff show, Blickle. That'll be Tuesday. I'm going to record with Keith in person at TGL before it starts. We'll do that. That will come out on Wednesday morning. Or I might start releasing that on Tuesday at midnight because we do record that one on Tuesday evening. Maybe just put it out right away. Why make people wait? No chat. And then I'm going to record the Thursday special show. That will come out on Thursday, but I'll record that on Monday night as well. It'll be me, Kenny, and we're looking for a third guest. I got to find someone special to come on with Kenny. And if you've been watching the Thursday show, you kind of know how those shows go. Kenny is going to be the optimal guest for that. Thoughts on Tom Kim? Yeah, I'm off. Don't want Tom Kim. Who's your FOMO guy this week? Probably Nikolai Højgaard, because I'm like the only person in the world who didn't bet him, and I bet Nikolai all the time. It's just I bet Gerard instead this week. Thoughts on Blades Brown? Not really. Is Berger going to be overlooked this week? It's been a while since he's been at his peak, but this field is, from a pure talent standpoint, kind of stands out. Doesn't seem too popular. I mean, he rates out like he's going to be pretty popular on DraftKings. I just didn't like his betting number. I think our tournament simulator actually has him with the second best win odds now that guys have withdrawn. I just can't get behind his not being able to chip. It's so ridiculous. It's like he has the yips. Maybe he can get it back together here, but he also might chip it into the water 4 times. And still, until like that gets away from him, he's just not going to hit every green in regulation. Like it's a real issue. And he's chipping himself out of tournaments, out of cuts if he doesn't have his best stuff. So that's why I ended up off of Berger. I am in a one-and-done pick'em league that runs through the end of the PGA season. I'm between Rasmus and Haotong this week. Colin got me a good lead in week 1, so I'm in a nice position. Opinion, I don't know your league. If you think that a lot of people are going to use Rasmus, just use Haotong. Why not? It's not like this purse is worth a ton either. Don't forget that. That's why you can take, I mentioned taking swings. I think that the Carl Phillips idea, probably a bit too much. But guys in the Haotong range who are like 40-1 to win now, why not? Like, there's not that big of a difference between Nikolai Højgaard and Haotong Li. Like, Nikolai, is he better? Yes. Is he significantly better? Not really. What is stopping Johnny Vegas from winning this week? If you say this one more time in my chat, I'm going to fucking ban you for life. All right? Bye. Little late. Can we start from the top? Nope. Why doesn't Tambo appear on the shows anymore? He's supposed to be on the player show. Tambo's got a lot going on right now, is all I'll say. Throw that out there. Yeah. He hasn't been able to make the shows when we record because there's personal stuff. That's why Alex has been on every single week. And I love doing it with Alex. And when Tambo's ready to come back and got the time, he can be on the show. Thoughts on Brooks to make the cut minus 180 pair with Gerard for minus 128? Sure. Go for it. I would not put Brooks in it to make the cut parlay with the way he's been putting right now. What do you mean by free money guy cashed out on DK this week? Watch the Tuesday show. You hit the time codes, you can see what the story is. Have you any concerns about Thor's TGL performance? No, I don't. I don't care what people do on TGL. Are you doing any wave splits this week? I mean, if you just watched the beginning of the show when I went over the weather, no. Biggest pet peeve, working with contractors, them not doing anything? Yeah. Fortunately, my wife's a lawyer, so we're going to get on this. It's shockingly enough, like if you're some like random dude and you're like, I'm going to get a lawyer to look into this, like no one takes you seriously. When a lawyer tells that to you, shockingly enough, they showed up today and put our countertops in. Funny how that works, huh? Yeah. So if you know a lawyer, you just get them to make the threats, and all of a sudden people are doing work. All of the work that you've paid for that's already overdue that they weren't going to do today. All of a sudden, the stuff is magically here, huh? Shocker. Last one. 4 one and done. If you don't use Lowry this week, where else would you use them? Besides the places that I've already went through where you could use them this week, next week, Heritage, Open would be the 4 where I would consider Shane Lowry. All right. That will do it for me. We almost went the entire hour. I appreciate everyone tuning in on a Wednesday evening. I hope it's somewhat helpful. I hope it's marginally helpful. I just hope it's not unhelpful to your process. Hopefully you got the answers you wanted to hear, because that's really what any Q&A is about. When you jump onto YouTube and start talking to people, you ask a question with an answer in mind, and you hope that the person you're talking to gives you the answer that you want to hear. So hopefully I have provided you with that. Oh, expecting my first kid in June. What are some little things I can do to make my wife's life easier the first few weeks? Hire like a night nurse, like an overnight person. Like we could afford it when we had our first kid. I could afford it for one night, and it was like the most rest she got the entire time. We didn't have very much money when we had our first kid, so I splurged on that because I could just see it was like a week into it. Like I was gassed, she was gassed. We just hired someone to come watch the baby for the night. They got up with the baby with the bottle and fed them, and we actually got some sleep. If you can afford to do something like that, it doesn't need to be every night, but like if you, let's say you have a lot of money or even a moderate amount of money, they're not that expensive. That twice a week for the first like 4 weeks can really go a long way because everyone gets at each other's throats. You start feeling stressed out and you start not necessarily making bad decisions. You're just like out of your mind because your lack of sleep is through the roof. And it's like between everything I've done in my life, I've never had that little sleep like the first 3 weeks of the first baby. That trying to alleviate some of that, especially because like we didn't have any family around when we had the kid. Eventually our parents came up, but like right away, we're in a city, we're by ourselves, and we just had a baby in a condo. What are we going to do? If you can try to do that, or you have someone who can do that, convince your wife to get the sleep. She'll be mad because a lot of the time, like the mom doesn't want to get away from the baby, especially that early. They want to be with them 24/7. But if you can convince her, like, just take 8 hours to go sleep, someone else can watch the baby, they will thank you in the morning and they'll be better for it and they can put more effort into it. And it gets them like recalibrated. The equilibrium comes back up from the lack of sleep that you're getting and like the amount of stress and pressure and how terrifying it is for having a kid for the first time. So yeah, night nurse would be probably my best suggestion on that. All right. That'll do it. Smash like on the way out. Thursday show coming up very soon. I'm very excited for this one. As I mentioned, it's different than Cam and Emerson. Sia and Pete, it's going to be different, but I thought it was a very fun show. It's pretty funny. And Sia has like big time Cust vibes in a totally different way, but you'll see it when you watch the show. All right. Please support that show, support the network, support all the shows. Even if you just pop into them, smash a like, comment, and that stuff really helps us with the algorithm, getting discovery, everything like that. But thanks for making Cog Week much more viewed and downloaded than I would have thought. But here we are. So thanks for tuning in. No show next Wednesday. And I will see you next time.